Ever heard the quote, if a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment. You don't fix the flower. I want to know if you have heard it. What did you think about this quote? Without me giving you my take, which I'm about to give you. But until now, you can pause the video and give me a comment if you want. So, I think of the flower as a 3D world, the hologram, the projection of some information into the field that was collapsed by an observer effect. You are the flower. Why? Because this leased vehicle that you're borrowing is a 3D projection of information in the hologram, and you, the real you, is the projector that has picked this character, this VR, which is what, when you die, you take off the VR. That's what death is, right? So, you're the flower. I would say there are two different ways to look at fixing the environment. Number one, what is the environment of your 3D body? This flower that you are. What is the environment of this? It's your field. The information in the field is projecting this body, this 3D hologram, this VR that you can see through, that you can observe, touch, smell, all that. No? So, the first environment is coherence, creating coherence in the field, right? How do you do that? You do that by doing the work, staying present, giving gratitude, talking about love, not hating, not judging, not analyzing everything that happens, not trying to fix the holographic world, but rather look within, which is the only place where freedom exists, right? So, the first way you look at that is to fix information within your field. How do you do that? You create coherence. You can do that by creating coherence in your heart. So when you do the meditation, what are you doing? When you do the breath work, what are you doing? You are overcoming the primitive animalistic side of you, right? Which is symbolized by horns. And animals have horns, some. And then you push that information up to your heart, and when it goes to your heart, it gets inspired. The only way it can go up to his brain, as long as you can push the energy to your heart, it will go to your brain, unless you have blockage in 5. A lot of people have that. But once you overcome that, which is simply by keep doing the work and keep practicing, you'll be able to overcome the animalistic part of you, moving the energy to 7 and 8, right? Which is symbolized by halo, divinity. And you slowly become the divine being, which is you, the real you, right? You are a divine spiritual being having a human experience. You're pretending to be you. You're not you. So, as you do that, as you push the information from the bottom 3 to your heart, into your brain, and out your brain, making yourself more magnetic, you are detaching yourself from the fears and anxieties of the future, and you're detaching yourself and you're freeing yourself from the bonds, guilt, and shame, torture, whatever is in the past that you think about and it makes you upset. It lowers your vibration. You're breaking that emotional bond. What happens when you break that emotional bond with your past that you resent, that you're guilty about, that you feel shame over, that you don't want to think about and you wish had not happened? What happens when you create that energetic bond, break that energetic bond? It turns your past traumas into wisdom, creates you a bigger being, creates you a higher level, higher frequency, higher vibrational being. This is not bad news, I'm telling you. It's good news. So the first environment that you can fix that will create the hologram in this 3D world of your desired state of being is to create more and more coherence in your field, in your energetic field. It heals you, makes you more whole, takes away these, upgrades your beliefs, right? Because you start to experience things in meditation that doesn't make sense. It's too foreign to you. The weird thing about that is, anything that is foreign, if it's not familiar, it is uncomfortable. Doesn't matter how good it is. Good or bad. If it's not familiar, it's uncomfortable. But as you create coherence in your field, what you're doing is you're increasing the ceiling of your happiness tolerance. And the more you do that, the more you can have beautiful experiences, mystical experiences. You truly can take over as a captain and talk to your pineal gland, your brain, and without giving them specific instructions, you can ask your brain and your heart to create specific molecules for each of the energy centers, which will make you a different person. It will change you energetically, magnetically, electromagnetically. It will change your dominant vibration. It will take you to a different level of happiness tolerance. And as all of these things happen, the field energy is becoming more coherent with higher and higher vibrational frequencies. And it's becoming more familiar for you to think abundance. Wake up the healer in you, right? Feel free, less stressed. You don't judge. Things don't make you angry. You're more kind. You're more patient. And it surprises you of how patient and kind you become. How much things don't bother you and faze you anymore. That is you making changes into the environment that fixes the flower, which is you. There's a book called The Mountain is You, right? People think that you have to sacrifice. You have to give up this and give up that and work 120 hours a week like Elon Musk to achieve this and achieve that, and these motivational speaker nonsense that is happening, which pumps you up. It's essentially just chugging a Red Bull. It doesn't help most people. Why? Because if you don't change your energy, nothing in your life will change. Motivational speakers cannot change your life. They cannot even benefit you. It's just a quick fix. It's a sugar high they give you. Don't fall for these motivational speakers. It's a quick fix. It's a sugar high. It works for less than 1% of the people that are already ready to receive that information. And as a consequence, their life changes. And they might be in an illusion that that person and that motivational speaker changed their life. No, they were ready to change their life in the beginning. That's why most people do not get affected by motivational speakers. Because unless you change your energy, you will sabotage no matter how good of things walk into your life. If you're not ready for it, if you're not in the receiving mode, if you win $1 million, what did Jim Rohn say? He said, if somebody gives you $1 million, you better become a millionaire or you're going to lose the whole $1 million. Why? Because if your energy is not aligned with that $1 million, the universe will take it away from you. You got it by accident, but the universe will still take it away from you because it's not a vibrational match to you. What is a vibrational match? Creating coherence in your field. The vibration in your field projects this body. That's why if it's incoherent information in my field, I will get sick. If it's coherent information in my field, I will heal if I was sick. So if I do this work, I will stay healthy as long as possible, right? And then there's the second way of thinking about the environment, which is every cell in your body has an internal environment and an external environment. You know, one of the reasons why I don't think he's a doctor, he's a geologist, but he might be a doctor, Greg Braden. He said that one of the reasons why cloning is not working as well as it should, as well as they hoped, is because DNA doesn't just live in the nucleus. There are strains and pieces of DNA in the rest of the cell. And because all DNA are antenna, the outside of nucleus DNA communicates with the inside of the DNA, the inside the nucleus DNA. And it affects each other's expressions of what proteins and amino acids and enzymes to create. So if you just take the DNA from the nucleus and you inject it somewhere else and you're expecting the same organism to come about, it won't work. Because you cannot take all of the DNA from the cell. Perhaps now they can, but they didn't take that into account, that there were pieces of DNA in the rest of the cell that communicates with the DNA in and out. So for example, there were these gaps that happened. There was this information that we originally thought when I was in school, that cell releases toxins and cell releases waste. And one of the reasons it does is there's this bubble that surrounds a particular thing, something in a cell, and then it merges with the cell membrane, and then it opens on the outside, and then this toxic waste or something is released. What we found out now, Greg Braden, thank you, is that it's not a waste at all. It is one cell taking information and releasing it into the atmosphere of around itself, so that other cell can take that information, so they can figure out that there's a cell that is sick around us, so let's protect ourselves from it, so that that cell can die off and be processed out of the body, so that we can protect the overall organism. This is also how trees work, how plants work. That if one plant, one tree gets attacked by a bug, right? A caterpillar, let's say, and it's being eaten, right? The leaves. Those leaves will start to send chemicals out to other trees to protect itself, because there's a caterpillar eating me. And it sends these signals out, these chemical signals into the air, affecting the atmosphere, which then affects how other trees will behave to protect themselves by creating certain chemicals. You know, I was just listening to a doctor who said that we need to always make sure that we peel our potatoes, because the outside, even though it's edible, it is full of toxins. That's why bugs don't eat potatoes while they're in the ground. Why? Because it has a toxic layer around it to protect the potato inside. So he said we need to make sure we're peeling the potatoes, otherwise we're taking in those toxins in our body. And because those toxins are not so dangerous that it's not poison, but it's basically slow poisoning, it'll still make you sick over time, you know? So environment is such a crucial role. So I gave some examples of the holographic way of how the atmosphere is being affected by chemicals being released and everything else. But for our sake, for our spiritual journey, it is important for us to be keeping in mind the energy within our field. This is you. It is your power. Most of you is invisible. 99.999% of you is invisible. Focusing on gluten diet and vegan diet and vegetarian versus not diet, it is not as useful as you creating coherence, as you creating these, breaking these energetic bonds, bringing in that information into your present moment, into your field, makes your field thick. There's people that can see auras. They can see the color of your aura, and they'll tell you that if you do this work, when I come back from certain retreats, people say, I look very different physically. My aura looks different. It's thick, the color and all this. We're constantly changing, whether we like it or not, information into our field by watching dumb things like news, right? By watching drama, just distracting ourselves, turning our brain off so that we can be programmed. That's why TV is called programming. Stop watching TV, guys, unless it's a special occasion. So work on your energy, work on your field, create coherence in it. The more coherent the information in your field, the better the projection in the hologram. And that's how you heal yourself. And when we do coherence healing, we're creating coherence into the field of the healee, so that the more coherence we create, the faster they can heal. Now, there's an aspect of allowing, there's an aspect of your own belief, whether or not you're worthy of it, and you can block healing. You can block other people helping you, of course. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you working on you, right? You changing your life by creating coherence by yourself within your field. So let me know your story. Let me know your thoughts. I love you.